white, glowing cat, not literally glowing, but shines in the sunlight kind of castle.
Hmm.
Um, and then it has um like very uh traditional like uh, uh views on like class, I guess.
Sure.
Hence, knights have to come from families of prestige. So I mean,
Mhm.
they're not going to treat their citizens like horrible because then they'll revolt, right? But they're I would say that in contrast to the people of the woods, they're a much more rigid society. And it's probably really apparent when they come to the festival because like you might have these ambassadors and they're all in very nice, well-tailored clothes, perfect posture, stiff upper lip. They, use all the right utensils and all that kind of
And
thing.
then out comes like Chuck the woodsman, who's like,
Yeah.
"Hello."
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question because I do want to spend a fate point on an idea I had for the eye, but before I do want to ask. So for the festival of the eye that we're talking about, or for the Ringwoods,
Mhm.
um, uh, when the exchange happens between the Ringwoods and the kingdom, the person who's gone into the rings and has been missing comes out. Is it just a visit for the day, or are they out permanently? Like, do they give them in exchange for something? Do they give them back to the kingdom?
I think if the Fae want something,
Mhm.
um, maybe even to like give them a vision or something like that, or even just appear before them. You like at the festival of the ring. If
Mhm.
by then you can provide me this, and
I
it
will.
could be um like um
I missed a
like
little bit
Dylan
of
was
what you
saying.
said, DC. It was lagging a little bit. Um, do you mind just sort of repeating what you just said like a couple of seconds ago?
Yeah, that the Fae would give people some kind of communication through some kind of communication what they want in
Mhm.
order to return the person that's missing.
Mhm.
And so I think along the lines of what Dylan was saying, that it could be very strange and obscure things that it's like,
Right.
bring me the handkerchief of a woman whose father just died and it must have
Right.
only 3 tears on it, or like something
yeah.
super bizarre like that.
I
Right.
love that so much. Uh,
I
I
think
do. Sorry. Go ahead.
an idea. I don't. I have a bad habit. Okay, I have a weakness, and that weakness starts with a T and ends with tsundere. So I don't want to. Okay, I do want to characterize two entire cultures as tsundere, and so I'm going to propose that idea real
Can
quick.
can you explain for the
So if you're
plebes?
not a total weeb, if you're not a complete anime fan like me, the tsundere character archetype is the person that cares but handles those feelings poorly and expresses them in the form of saying they don't care and like being kind of aggressive. Um, and so I like the idea that both the Kingdom of the Rose and the Ringwoods uh, need things from the space, right? Like clearly the Kingdom of the Rose wants stuff, and the Fae want to be left alone, but neither one wants to acknowledge that, right? Like the Kingdom of the Rose doesn't want to acknowledge that the Fae are actually a problem for them owning the woods, but also the Fae don't want to acknowledge that the silly mortal kingdom could be an issue for them. And
Right.
so neither one of them wants to talk to the other, and so they both end up just asking the Brightwoods for things. Like the
Yeah.
Fae are like, "Hey, Brightwoods, we would like you to leave this portion of stop going into this part of the forest, or give me this handkerchief from the woman whose father just died."
Yeah.
And the Kingdom of the Rose is like, "Hey, we need you to be cutting down more lumber. We need you to be expanding," and like,
Can I
so
can I
Yeah.
can I say something? Because we should go to break, but there are two things that I wanted to come up with before we go to break. Um,
Mhm.
we have sort of like the slogan or like the motto of the Brightwoods, and I kind of want to pin down what it is for the Kingdom of the Rose and the Ringwoods, and I don't actually want them to be opposites. I think they should just be two different things.
Mhm.
And right now what I'm feeling is that the Ringwoods maybe appreciate weirdness and spookiness and like your not infamy, maybe infamy. Like there's something about your reputation in being the being weird and strange, and that's a good thing in the Ringwoods. I'm thinking something along those lines. And then for the Kingdom of the Rose, it sounds like wealth or greed or like expansion is definitely part of their creed.
I think order is something that would. It's important to them, and that's something that isn't directly conflicting.
Yeah.
But it's also something that makes the kingdom good in a way that's different from the others. There's much more order and structure that people can find comfort in.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that actually. Yeah.
I had an idea because as soon as you mentioned greed and abundance for the kingdom, I actually had that idea for the Ringwoods, because for me, I like it to, and I kind of want to spend a fate point on this, but I want to see if it's too out there, because for me the idea, and I will go to break, but I love this idea. I've been having it in my head for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea. I have this idea about the Ringwoods operating under different physics, and for that space to be finite from the outside but infinite from the inside, and for it to be actually completely it doesn't actually have a size, and that it's infinite, and that things can go in, but that it can never lose anything. So if it's going to take someone out, so for example, the Festival of the Rings, if it's going to give someone back, it has to take someone in. So it never loses complete volume. So it can request something in return, but whoever's bringing that has to go in and not come out again. So for every person that leaves, someone has to take their place, so that it never gets smaller, it only gets bigger.
You know, there's some really interesting implications for that, because that means that there are tons of regular folk in comparison to the people of the Ringwood. There's a ton of regular folk in there, so what is going on with them?
Yeah.
What kind of like tribal like community has been born up?
Well, or like, do they just?
Is there a hierarchy there? Is there like?
Do they just integrate? Right? Are the Fae like, yes, this is my human friend?
Yeah.
What if you're in there for too long, you become a Fae creature?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like you lose your humanity, basically.
Yeah, that Ancient Magus' Bride right there. If you watch anime at all and you like the sound of anything we're saying, watch Ancient Magus' Bride. My value note I want to make for the Ringwoods as an idea, because you were talking about them valuing weirdness.
Yeah.
What if instead it's authenticity? It's being what you are, right? Like that's why they like all the weird Fae creatures that are there, is because they just are what they are.
Right.
But the Brightwoods kind of is at odds with that, with this like, everybody plays along, it's fine. And the Kingdom of the Rose is 100% against that, with the like, be part of the order, maintain the status quo.
Yeah, I mean, there's even an oath of chastity the Knights undertake, where they're married to this figurehead, which is not natural for most people. So like
the Ringwoods doesn't care if you're a human or if you're a succubus or a dryad or any of these things, as long as you are what you are.
Right. So maybe it doesn't turn them into a Fae necessarily. Maybe it just slowly but surely strips them down to their pure essence.
It
exactly
exaggerates. It expresses what they are.
Yeah.
I kind of still want them to not, because it's I just want to comment on it, because I do like the idea of there being a slightly negative slant to their ideology, in that I think there is a part of their culture that still values, like I want there to be some kind of competitive edge to.
Well, I think truth is in the eye of the beholder, right? Like they may say that they value authenticity and being like making sure you are what you are, but what if they just don't believe you? What if they're like, no, you're lying to yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we take it as the sort of black hole that's slowly but surely just sucking the entire universe in, it's sucking everything in, slowly and just reducing it to its purest essence, authentic. It sort of does seem to be this I don't know, this manipulative brainwashing society that sort of just wants to normalize everything that's coming in and reducing it to a version of itself.
I really like the idea of there being creatures in there who are just fighting to be the new whatever, like the thing that everyone is talking about because of some weird fayness that is about them now that they've acquired and they've like honed, yeah, I want it to be like there's got to be something there about reputation because I really want to explore that.
I think a part of it is that both societies, the major ones, believe that reputation is power, but in two different ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In that, to the Fae, breeding emotion and being able to use that is something that makes them more powerful in whatever way. If someone decides to Rumpelstiltskin and make this amazing story about them, that in itself, like it's kind of like American Gods. So the more you believe in something, the more power they have.
Exactly.
And so some people do good things. There's a fairy godmother or whatever. And some people do terrible things. And so
and for them, I don't think there's good and bad between that too. Like it's just
No.
the way that you do it.
Yeah.
So another thing that is interesting.
I'm going to spend a fate point just because I really want it to be sort of in that realm.
Okay. And can I fate point that infinite shit that I did?
Sure. Yep.
Fate point that infinite shit.
Yes. Sorry, you haven't.
There's
been
our
able to
quote
speak
for the
in a
night.
little while.
So this is an interesting thought to me.
Yep.
Is if they're spitting people out from the Ringwood into the Brightwood, much like there must be some sort of secondary culture that is emerging in this, Ringwood area. There has to be an adjacent culture in the Brightwoods of people that have left the Fey realm, this place that are on some kind of spectrum of kookiness. Some people have been there a long time, or maybe they just got spat out as a result of an exchange, and they come out and it's like, that's the crazy dude of the woods. He lives over there by himself. He knows all the right ingredients to make you this solve or whatever, this healing thing. Or this person like paints really crazy pictures of cats that are all kind of crazy bright fluorescent colors.
And the paintings kind of move if you like look
right,
at them hard enough.
Or this lady, she's mostly fine, but sometimes she'll just wander off and start saying gibberish. It's like they'll and like so I feel like something has to come from that too. Like there has to be a portion of the population
People
in the Brightwoods that
Those
that
are our cabin in the woods like groups. That's where you got the witch that ate Hansel and Gretel or was gonna. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't always necessarily have to be bad. And again, I think examining things of like perspective are interesting. So there's a lot of different ways that just even with what we have, if you think about whose eyes are seeing this thing, what perspective are we looking at this thing from? So it could be that for maybe the Kingdom of the Rose, for example, sees some of these people as like, that's the woman that wants to fatten up your kids because she wants to put them in an oven and eat them. But maybe the Brightwoods people are like, no, you don't get it. She makes really good pies that heal headaches or are a contraceptive or I don't know, some crazier shit. Or make people fall in love. I don't know.
I've had that kind of pie before.
Make people fall in love with the pie.
Yeah.
That's a whole other type of conversation.
Awesome. I love that. I really like that, Nox. Should we go to a break for like 5 to 8
probably,
minutes
yeah.
or so, and then we'll come back?
Really solid 10.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. Great. Okay, we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Okay.
Cool.
Sure.